sir. Good morning.
Sarah, how will pulling U.S. workers out of Iraq hurt the rebuilding efforts there and the efforts?
I'm sorry, can you say the first part of the question again?
So in Iraq, we're pulling out non-essential workers and such, like State Department workers. How will that affect helping Christians there and rebuilding minority communities in Iraq?
Certainly we hope that this isn't long-term or something that lasts an extensive amount of time, and that the tensions there will ease and those individuals will return back to their work. Certainly that's something we don't want to see impacted.
Sarah, when you talk to economists and to business executives, they say the way tariffs work is that China doesn't directly pay for it, that it funnels its way back to the consumer. So how is it that the administration is making the case today that China is going to be paying for this bailout to farmers?
Look, they are putting a tremendous amount of billions of dollars, we anticipate, through money that they'll pay in the tariffs. And any money that comes from that, some of that can be used to help with the farmers. Again, we're still looking towards a more long-term solution and a deal with China, and we'll see what happens on that front.
Joe. To work on legislation while there are investigations going on. Nixon, Clinton, Obama all did it.
Well, I think the Democrats have shown that they're not capable of doing anything else. So far, they've been unwilling and unable to sit down and solve any real problems, whether it's the crisis at the border, whether it's infrastructure, or anything else. It's very hard to have a meeting where you accuse the President of the United States of a crime and then an hour later show up and act as if nothing's happened. The idea of that is insane, I think, to any normal person. I don't think if one of your colleagues accused you of a crime, then you'd sit down and work on a story 2 minutes later with them and pretend as if that hadn't happened. The president's been clear about this. He's been talking about it since the State of the Union. He said we need to focus on legislation. We need to focus on fixing the problems of this country. And the Mueller report was conclusive. It said there was no collusion. And let's not forget that there have been a number of the House and the Senate have also done their own separate hearings and investigations on this matter. And they've all come back with the same thing, that there was no collusion. So how many times do we have to have a redo before the Democrats accept the results? The bottom line is there was no collusion, there was no obstruction, and it's time for them to actually do some real work.
Priorities like USMCA, though, that's something that will require cooperation with Democrats. It's a stated priority.
Look, the president's done a lot of his part in that process, which was getting the deal in the first place. The president got the deal between Mexico and Canada to recreate this trade deal, one of the most historic and largest trade deals in the history of our country. Now it's on Congress to actually get it passed. The president did his part. He got a good deal. He's put it in front of them. If Democrats refuse to want to help farmers, manufacturers, the unions, American workers, then that's a question you'll have to ask them, is why are they unwilling to help America's workers and help the American economy do better by getting this trade deal in place? It's absurd to think that they wouldn't have been running to get that passed. The fact that we're even still having this conversation and that they haven't tried to push to put it on the floor is absurd on its own.
A red line, debt limit, government spending. Is this a red line? Does this mean the president's willing to default on the debt? Does this mean the president's open to a shutdown because Democrats continue to investigate?
Look, we want to continue to move forward and get things done. I think that the president and our team will look at administrative actions as well that we can take to fix some of these problems, and we'll keep you posted on the other stuff as we go through.
Just to follow up, is the president putting himself, Sarah, just to follow up, is the president putting his own job ahead of the best interests of the American people by saying no legislation if you keep investigating?
That's insane. The president is actually putting the American people first. It's the Democrats that don't want to do anything. The only thing they want to do is focus on attacking this president and trying to delegitimize his presidency. It's not only bad for the president, it's bad for the office of the presidency. What they are doing is a complete and total overreach, and they know it. And that's why there's no support for this process to move forward. If you look at poll after poll, it shows that that doesn't exist for them to move forward on impeachment. Nancy Pelosi knows that, but she is controlled by this extreme left wing of her party, and she doesn't know how to get it both ways. And at some point, she's going to have to make a decision. Does she want to let the left wing of her party make decisions and control what they do, or is she going to let the American people and what's best for them dictate her decisions? We haven't seen that yet. Hopefully, she'll make the right decision.
Sarah, you said to Joe that essentially if the president is unwilling to cooperate and talk to Democrats because his feelings were hurt about
I'm sorry, can you speak up a little bit?
You said that the president was unwilling to continue talking with Democrats, essentially because his feelings were hurt because of something Pelosi said an hour before.
That's absurd. I didn't say that. The president's feelings weren't hurt. She accused him of a crime. Let that sink in. She didn't say, I don't like you. She accused him of committing a crime after we spent 2 years going through this exhaustive investigative process with Bob Mueller and his team. We've spent millions and millions of taxpayer dollars. We've spent a number of hours sending individuals to testify, 500 different witnesses, dozens of subpoenas. It's not like this was a one-day event. This has taken 2 years in which the president has been relentlessly attacked, and you guys have breathlessly covered every single minute and moment, hoping, waiting to find out that the president of the United States committed a crime. And now people are disappointed to find out that he didn't. At some point, you have to accept that it just didn't happen, and it's time to move on. Last question, Margaret, go ahead.
So I want to go back to Peter's question. I watched the CNN interview. I'm still not sure if I understand what the White House's position is. Are you saying you would only attempt to pay the U.S. debt through administrative action, and that at this point the White House will stop, the president will stop working with Congress? Are there no, I just don't understand. I hear everything you're saying, but I don't understand what it means.
No, I'm not saying that we're only looking at the budget options through administrative action, but we are looking at addressing a number of the big problems, whether it's prescription drug prices, border security, things like that, through administrative action. We'll continue to do that as we have over the last several months. Again, the president would like to see Democrats come to the table and work with him, and that's a decision that they have to make at some point, and we hope that they will.
Is the debt ceiling untouchable? Is the debt ceiling untouchable, essentially?